Hello, everybody. Hi, Kenda.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for joining me tonight. So, everybody's aware that we are wrapping up our session on promoting healthy lifestyles. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Lena Lassiter. I'm the president and founder of Forever Healed. We are a nonprofit where our mission is to help those recover from pain as a result of a loss of any kind. We want to help them recover. We want to help them to restore. But more importantly, we want to help them to reclaim their lives through actionable steps via grief recovery classes. And we do those one on one or through group sessions. I'm also a certified advanced grief recovery method specialist, a licensed minister, and educated in crisis and trauma. So, due to the pandemic, we had to shift a bit, and we are now offering virtual one to one classes, and we'll be starting our group sessions back up very soon. However, our mission doesn't stop because of the pandemic. So, we have been committed to all of you that we will work through regular lab sessions to bring education, encouragement, and hope to you. So we have had some phenomenal speakers this far, and tonight it's no different. So we have Kenda Sutton here. She's a holistic vegan nutritionist and lifestyle coach, and she specializes in hormone healing. So thank you, Kenda, for agreeing to join me tonight. I don't take it lightly that you're here. We were talking a little bit in the green room how we have to be very careful about who we connect to and our brand. You have a very impressive bio. So I am just very flattered that you accepted our invitation and so excited to speak with you tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I've researched your information, your website. I've listened to some of the talks that you have, and it's very important, the work that you are doing, and it definitely should be highlighted on different levels to connect the community back to actually healing themselves. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, extremely, Kenda. So it had been impressed on my heart, for a while to just speak on physical health. I firmly believe that our physical health begins with the mindset change about, food choices, just lifestyle changes. And when people grieve, they tend to eat to kind of calm their hearts. They don't want to feel. As such, I wanted to discuss nutrition and how eating choices may impact our overall health with you tonight. And also, during this time of COVID-19, we find ourselves like in uncertain times and, news is always unfolding with new statistics and updates and people start to feel overwhelmed and feeling like things are out of control. But I believe that we have to focus on what we are able to control. And one thing that we are able to control, Kenda, is our health and our well-being. And I think that it's highly beneficial for us to focus on that tonight. Um, I have also been sharing with our followers and our guests that we tend to stir, right? So when we talk about stirs in our grief recovery classes, we talk about short-term emotional relieving behaviors that we do in order to cope or, again, not to feel the sadness that we may be going through. So having you here tonight to talk about healthy choices and our mindset, I'm so excited. So we have had several speakers, and some of their opinions, everybody, they may vary. However, they are speaking from their experiences, they're speaking from their education, and they're speaking from their expertise. So we have a diverse panel to appeal to the needs of all followers. So please take these sessions, whatever speaks to you, take what's yours, and get your questions ready for Kenda. And in the meantime, please let us know where you're watching from. Give us a shout out. Let her know that you're here and show some support. So without further delay, I want to officially introduce our guest speaker because she is doing some very impressive things. So Kenda is a holistic nutritionist. She's a student midwife. She's a certified lactation counselor, reproductive justice and maternal health advocate, birth worker, and master herbalist. Kenda is a passionate advocate of healthy foods, maternal mortality, reproductive justice, alternative medicine, and nutrition education. She works tirelessly with community members to build strong coalitions, develop grassroots leadership, and to support campaign development and organizing strategies. Whew, what an impressive young lady. Her commitment to amplifying healthy foods and organizing with historically marginalized communities has been marked by her strong leadership and consistent work ethic. Ma'am, impressive, and welcome again. So, there were two things that stood out to me that you believe in, and I'm excited to discuss these with you and whatever else you have to share with us. But you said health starts on your dinner plate. So can you speak to this and explain how herbs, diet, our lifestyle shifts can mitigate and reverse some health conditions?
So when I say that, thank you so much for having me, by the way. Truly, deeply appreciate it. So when I say that health starts with the dinner plate, what you actually put on your dinner plate actually affects what is going to happen within your body. When when we teach that food is like medicine, that is definitely a true statement. Hi, Wendy, how are you? So people not realizing that herbs, your food, all take a part in the healing process. So, for instance, I always like to use cinnamon. Some people use it, some people don't use it. But when you intake a lot of cinnamon, it can affect your blood sugar.
Mm.
So when people say that they're herbalists and they're making elderberry syrup and they say that they put cinnamon in it, I typically like to ask the question, do you screen your patients? Do you screen the people who are purchasing elderberry syrup from you? Because some people can't have it with cinnamon in it because it will drop their blood sugar.
Wow.
There's, for instance, rhubarb root. They sell that as a plant. Some people use it as a broth. That is a blood purifier. So based upon if you are anemic, you can't have high levels of rhubarb root. And that is a plant, that is something that everyone likes to partake in. And if you don't really realize what food does to your body, then you can't properly eat. One thing that our culture likes to do is when they're dealing with grief and someone does pass away, we like to send a whole bunch of food over, not thinking that what we're sending them can make them go deeper into a depression. Certain food works the brain. So if you don't know what foods are stimulating the brain or causing certain receptors to actually go off, then you could potentially harm someone. And even when birth happens, when during the pregnancy portion, there are certain things that you can't have because it could cause you to go deeper into gestational diabetes, even if you've never experienced any type of issues. There are certain things like tuna. You can't have too much of tuna because of the mercury levels. So when I try to tell schools, like, nutrition needs to be taught in school as a course so that we can train the youth on how to properly eat, because how they properly eat is going to stimulate their mind for different tests, for different things that they go through that they're dealing with, especially during the pandemic, during the highest point. Everyone's mental issues are up and down. So you have the suicide rate is extremely high. So when it's happening in children and they actually have the courage to kill themselves, to commit suicide, you have to say, okay, so how are we stimulating their minds?
Wow.
Actually feeding them healthy foods. Because right now, certain places, certain homes can't afford healthy foods.
Right.
Because the children are home all day long. So then there comes, okay, where they're getting too much starch or they're getting too many carbs, bad carbs. So, and that's what we need to look at.
Right. Just the education piece, even at home, because, I've been sharing all month, Kenda, how, growing up, even when we would eat like greens or vegetables, we would end up putting pork and a lot of salt in it. Right. So that's how we learned how to eat. And then we have, all this high blood pressure. Hi, Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie is also an advanced grief recovery method specialist, a life coach. Thank you for my necklace, Dr. Jackie. She sells beautiful jewelry. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hi, Wendy. You said something too that was so profound about grief, because at an early age we're not taught how to grieve, right? So,
Mhm.
and I tend to say sometimes, like when we scrape our little knee, like growing up, when we hurt our knee, our parents don't ask how we feel, but they tend to bake cookies or they bake food, and then we learn how to eat. But you're even right. Even after a funeral, what do? We eat.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people don't realize that that affects every portion of your life. And a lot of people take it lightly. And when I say, well, when you go back to what we eat on our plate, we're eating like we're still slaves. Because you have to understand that we were fed scraps. Why are we still eating scraps? They want to target certain portions of slavery and target, oh, well, we need to get out of this and we need to get out of this. We need to stop eating the way that we do because we're still affecting our immune systems.
Right.
We're still carrying on underlying conditions that could be stopped in certain generations. I don't train my children to eat for taste or to eat for what they see on TV. I
Right.
want them to eat for portions to eat for healing.
That's
And that's
good.
what we need to start looking at. It's like, okay, what can we properly do? A lot of people like to say, well, healthy foods are so expensive. Look outside in your yard. Dandelions grow every day. Clean them. All you have to do is pick them up, clean them, and put
Wow.
them in a broth. That's a form of healing your body.
Mm.
Berries grow wild. Have you ever remember? I'm not sure if you were taught this or not, but growing up, there were berries that used to grow, and they used to say those are snake berries. Don't eat those berries.
Right.
Why not? And nature is allowing them to happen. So those berries actually have names. I remember walking up and down the street, and we used to pick blackberries growing raw or raspberries growing raw and eat them. So these are the things that we have to get back to as a culture.
That's so good.
What you feed your children is setting them up for success.
What you feed your children is setting them up for success. I love that. I love that. Hi,
And
Pat.
then like the ADHD. A lot of young boys or have this condition. But if you go back to Dr. Ali Africa and actually read his books, he taught you certain things to do to fix it. It's a hormone imbalance. It's because you don't feed them correctly. So they're losing minerals. They don't have certain minerals that they actually need to provide to their brains. And that's what I mean by individuality as far as eating. Certain
Okay.
people can't eat the same way. Females can't always eat the same way as males. Blood types actually matter on what you're actually going to eat. A person who's blood type B should not be eating chicken.
Mm.
So these are certain things that are not going to break down into your body. So this is why you need to learn about your own individual dinner plate.
Right. I like that, because we are all unique and individual, and we even teach that, in our grief recovery classes.
Right.
You said something else, that you've been saying a lot that's profound tonight. I'm telling you, I'm learning already in the first 5 minutes. So I agree with you, Wendy. It is really good already, right? And we just getting started. You talk a lot about there's no one size fits all, right? Diet or magic bullet, which is going to cure all illnesses. So can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yes. So as far as one size fits all, a lot of people think that I can just provide them with some form of supplement that's going to allow them to drop weight within a week. And I'm like, realistically, did it take you that long to get to? So you need to allow me that amount of time to help you to get healthier and then lose the weight. It's not my job to just go target the weight loss issue. My job is to actually get you healthier, and then your body will kick in and heal itself and lose the weight.
That's good.
Most people who actually come to me never get the same diets unless they're in the same household and this person is going to help this person to make better food choices. But typically, it's always a different meal plan. It's always typically based upon blood types or certain conditions that I know they have.
That's good.
We all cooked dinner. We cooked dinner for the whole family, but we're not realizing, well, maybe you shouldn't have that. Maybe you should have this type of dinner. Maybe we can skip dinner and just have fruit. I don't always, you shouldn't always have to have a cooked meal. Raw sometimes is best. So, but in our culture, raw is looked down upon. You know, when Nipsey Hussle first passed away, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!" And they were on the Dr. Sabi trip. That
Right.
lasted about maybe 30 days. But Dr. Sabi had always been around, and certain people who were definitely herbalists. I know there's plenty of us in the alkaline community. We were just looking at the world like, okay, don't please research what you're talking about, because we don't want you to tarnish the Sabi name, because certain things is not true.
Right.
And certain herbalists, like certain herbs, everyone cannot take that herb. And just like with the magic bullet, as far as vaginal steaming, I'm not sure if you actually heard that. I'm definitely a vaginal steam certified. So a lot of people are asking me like, well, can I just buy it and do it at home? No, you can't, because I make the blend according to you. You can't have
Mm,
blend as someone else. Just like I can't give you the same food as someone else. You're not going to have the same birth as someone else. Can you get through it? Yes. But is your birth going to be identical to someone else's? No,
no.
because you could have different issues than she does. So these are different things that we talk about, and we talk about, oh, treat me individually, but it's not a rounded circle.
Right.
Certain things you want me to treat you individually, but when it comes to nutritional, when it comes to different issues, you want the same thing as someone else.
Right.
And then the fad diets. Oh my gosh, this person lost 80 pounds from keto. That's what I want to do. Well, keto might not be the best option for you. And when you finish keto, are you actually going to still be successful? Or did you just train your body to eat a certain way and now you can't go back to eating the certain things that you want to eat?
Right. And that's the difference, and that's making it a lifestyle change, right?
Right.
Because I've been sharing on here, Kenda, for the longest time, and people probably sick of me sharing this little story. But when I first tried a vegan diet, and it was because someone did like a competition, right? They want to, who's going to take this challenge with me, this 30-day challenge. I said, oh, I'll do it because I'm very competitive. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Because first of all, I thought vegan was short for vegetarian. So that's how ignorant I was going in. But I stuck to it. And I have to say that I did sleep better. I just felt lighter. I felt more energized and clear-headed, at work. But see, I didn't do it for the right reasons, though. I didn't do it for the lifestyle change. I did it to win the competition, just to say that I did it, right? So, of course, that day, like we were just talking about, day 31, day 35, well, Lena was back, drinking cow milk and everything else, that I can put in my mouth. But then I kept thinking, like, goodness gracious, like I did feel the benefits of that, but the motivation wasn't right. And I think we have to really think about our motivation, even when it comes to our health and losing weight. Like, why do you want to do it? So like you say, because somebody over here lost 80 pounds, or do you want to do it for health reasons, not to have high blood pressure, not to have diabetes, just to take care of yourself. So you have to really question your motives too when you're going in trying to lose weight, or, joining out a fad diet. Why are you doing that? Because everyone else is doing it? Or are you truly trying to make it a lifestyle change?
And that's very important, exactly what you said, because not learning the different types of diets or different types of lifestyle changes can actually affect you. And I'm surprised that you actually didn't get sick, because typically when you go to vegan and then you go back to eating normally, you get sick the first couple of days. And then you have to, because you didn't transition your body back to eating properly. Well, properly, but eating the way that you wanted to go back to eating. And like a lot of vegans, like people jump in and say, oh, I want to be vegan, I'm going to do this, but they're eating all of these processed foods. Why are you consuming all of the processed foods? That voids you trying to get healthy, because these processed meats, Impossible Burger, because it tastes like a burger and stuff like that. Go get you some vegetables, some garbanzo bean flour, and make your own burgers.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why they say, oh, the fad is, oh, vegans are sick, oh, they don't ever have enough B12, something of that nature. What do you mean I don't have enough B12? I know how to properly food combine my plate to make sure that I'm getting what I need to get. You know, certain people, they love kale, but certain people can't have kale because they don't realize that our bodies don't digest kale the way that it should. So it needs to be juiced or in a smoothie.
Wow.
And these are certain things that, okay, because it's a fat diet, you want to jump in and get to, but then when you get sick, you're like, oh, that makes you sick, but you didn't do it properly.
Right.
How much of us actually intake enough water that we should be getting? There's young children. I talked to I had a nutrition class with the youth the other day. Some of them don't even go to the bathroom normally, and they think that that's normal. And I'm like, well, how much water are you drinking? Oh, I might drink a glass. What? So as the parents, we try to, our generation, as parents, we try to give our children what we didn't have. And that's why the youth is kind of failing, but no one wants to admit it. But the youth is kind of failing where they are because we were so stuck on giving them what we didn't have that we didn't train them up properly. Our children are failing because we're in a pandemic and they don't know how to live without certain things.
That's good.
That's what we didn't treat them. Our parents taught us how to survive. Like, you had to go outside, and typically we didn't come back in the house until the street lights came on.
That's right.
And that's when we were forced to. But these children, they don't go outside. They're forced to, they want to be on the video games or on cell phones. We gave them all these things because we didn't have it, not realizing that because we didn't have it shaped us into better people. But no one wants to talk about those situations. And then it goes back to, what are these children eating? Because they sit in the house and all they eat is snacks all day. And then we want to know why they're mentally failing, or they're in the house depressed, or they're depressed because they can't go out and get a pair of shoes, which still stems back from what we're feeding them.
Right.
We aren't feeding them for mental clarity. We aren't feeding them brain food. And so that's what we have to start thinking about. Okay, how are we training up these youth? And then with the virtual and them being home all day, who's the parents, especially in the lower income communities? These parents aren't home all day because they still are forced to work.
Yeah.
So who's making sure that these children are actually eating properly? Screen time matters. I don't care what type of virtual school that we're starting. Screen time affects the children's brain. And so if screen time is affecting their brain and the food is affecting their brain, what part of their brain is left to actually grow and some function and not be depressed?
Wow, that's good. That's good.
And so all of these, hey Doreen, how are you? All of these things actually matter. When preparing meals, when preparing the dinner plate, learning that your child who plays football is going to eat a lot differently from your child who's the book reader.
Right.
Because that football player is going to need some healthy carbs on his dinner plate, a lot of carbs, a lot of different, a fat, a carb, and a protein, a complete meal. Whereas the reader might need half of those portions.
Right. That's good.
And so we have to be able to figure out, okay, this child needs this amount as a portion, and this child needs this as a portion. And this adult needs this because they're already pre-diabetic. So let's change that. They don't have to go into diabetes full. We can change the way we eat. We can go outside and exercise. Exercise is a natural form of detox. So that's going to help heal your body anyway. And you don't always need breakfast. I drink mostly water until about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then I start my day with fruit. I start my day with fruit simply because I prepare my body for digestion. When you're asleep, your body is in a fasting state. So it's just like breaking a fast. You break your fast with water and fruit, and then you go into other meals.
That's good to know too, Kenda, because we're always taught that breakfast is the most important meal and you have to, eat these certain things for breakfast. But I never thought about it that way.
And most people would like a donut for breakfast. But do you realize that donut just did you way so much harm because now your body can't do anything else but focus on trying to break down all that sugar? And sugar is more addictive than cocaine.
Wow.
We talk about people saying, "Oh, I'm craving sugar," or "I'm craving this." These are real strong cravings that you have to detox your body to get away from.
Wow. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. You guys hearing this? Man.
And then let alone the parasites. Meat has parasites. You can go pick up the bloodiest meat in the store, but that is definitely not the freshest. Meat is injected with chemicals to make it appear to look fresh, but when you kill an animal, it's dark. It's dark. So even when you go and get this grass-fed meat or whatever, it still was killed probably 6 weeks before you're actually eating it. And so no matter what, you still have to be able to say, okay, at some form of fashion, I need to detox. I need to go ahead and get rid of these parasites and these sugars and revamp my body. Regenerate my liver. Your liver is one of the largest organs in your body that needs to be function at a high capacity so that it's filtering out toxins. When you have a breakout in the skin, that is simply because your body is not releasing toxins that it needs to release.
Wow.
And that's why I always prefer going to an endocrinologist. I have no need to go to a PCP. I'd rather go to an endocrinologist because they study the internal portions of the body. So anything internally going on, they can actually assist with.
That's good. That's good. All right, y'all. Any questions? Bring your questions. And a lot of good information. Type in your questions. If you don't want your questions to be scrolled across the screen, that's fine. Just do a hashtag in front of your question. And I won't show it, but I will read it. So you talked a lot about, like drinking the water. And I know when I thought I was drinking a lot of water. I was drinking like maybe one bottle of water a day, not realizing that, I was taught by my trainers to take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces of water that you should be drinking. And I was drinking nowhere near that. I do that, of course, now. But as far as like detoxing our body or just gaining more education around what you're talking about tonight, Kenda, like, how do we start? Like, where do we start?
So I would start with a simple getting familiar with herbs. Because even if you don't come to me for a detox and you go to someone else, you need to be well versed on what herbal teas or what herbs they're actually going to provide you to actually detox the body. Getting more, if you say, for instance, you want spinach, start with looking up the properties of spinach, looking up side effects, looking up the benefits of spinach before you actually eat it, which spinach is a great source of iron. So anyone who is anemic, I always recommend spinach to help heal the body. So just looking up every single thing that you're going to put in your body, and also when you have these soft drinks, take it, turn around, look at the ingredients. The first couple of ingredients is what's mostly in it. And so looking up those ingredients, looking up the side effects, looking up how harmful it is to your body, and you'll be able to, that's a start because your mind will tell you what not to eat. Like you'll look it up and you'll say, oh my gosh. And then you're going to be like, no, because it has this in it. And you're going to do it more versus if someone's telling you.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, it's important to learn how to read the labels and understand what they mean. And a lot of people feel like just because it says, what does it say, Kenda, on the boxes, like it's organic or whatever, we have to be careful.
Organic is, right? I prefer wildcrafted over organic any day. Organic is just a label. You don't even realize that just because it has one organic ingredient in it, they can actually slap an organic label on it.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't necessarily mean the entire product is organic.
Just one organic ingredient.
And then when you try to pick up, because it says no sugar. Look into the ingredients, you'll see aspartame. Aspartame is worse on the body than sugar. So these are things that you need to be looking out. Say, okay, not all sugar. I'm not going to say all sugar is bad. but learning how to read the different sugars. If you're gonna do a supplement, do agave, do stevia. Agave is my first choice, and then you can look into stevia or something like that, versus straight sugarcane or aspartame.
Okay.
I think somebody had a question.
Any questions?
The waist trainers. I actually like waist trainers. However, you need to be taught how to properly breathe with the waist trainer on, and how long you should wear it.
Mm,
Because a lot of people like to wear it all day. It is not an all day wearer. You wear it for 8 to 12 hours a day, and you need to make sure that you're focused on breathing, or else it's null and void.
very good. Good question. Any questions from our viewers? What questions do you have?
Doreen has a question. She said, would you say anything gluten-free is good for you? No, because some gluten-free products have soy in them. And if you look up what soy and tofu does to the body, especially a male's body, and also a female's too, but a male specifically, you will not want it. That's what soy and tofu changes the genetic makeup of a male. So when you start to see them like grow breasts and things like that, that's because of the hormones and the changing of the estrogen levels.
Okay. That's good. Very good question, Doreen. Any other questions? What recommendations, I have a question, do you have for those who are suffering like with high blood pressure as far as their eating choices, their eating habits?
As far as high blood pressure, you do need some form of salt. I would do a sea salt, a pink Himalayan salt to season the food. I wouldn't season it a lot with sea salt, but just a little bit to make sure that you are still intaking some form of sodium. Also, learning how to season your food with herbs, basil, oregano, red peppers, certain things like that can actually make your food really, really flavorful without you using a lot of salt. Changing your diet and exercise will actually help you to lower your high blood pressure and actually come off the medication. Just
Great.
like people with diabetes, if you change the diet and exercise and actually take cinnamon, is what we give in place of insulin and metformin, and that will actually help lower the blood sugar.
Okay. What do you think about waist trainers, Miss Kenda?
That's the one I just answered that.
Oh, okay.
As far as making sure you learn how to breathe with the waist trainers, making sure that you're not wearing them over 12 hours a day. And it's still beneficial because it still helps you build your core and not stretch out your abdomen muscles.
Very good. Good question, sis. How are you? You spoke earlier too about the pre-diabetes and how you don't have to go into full-blown diabetes. So any recommendations for anyone watching tonight or who's going to watch this replay who may have been given a diagnosis of pre-diabetes, some things that they can do, helpful tips for them?
The helpful tips is making sure that you're watching and paying attention to all signs in your body, because it could be that your body is insulin resistant, and that could be because of a candida buildup, a yeast buildup, or something that's going on within the blood. So getting some natural blood purifiers, such as rhubarb root, that's a great blood purifier. Dandelion is a great blood purifier. Certain things like that can assist in just cleaning the body.
Very good. Good stuff.
She said, Tanya said, how do you take cinnamon? They actually sell cinnamon capsules in all stores. And you just take the capsule. And you can go by, depending on which one you actually purchase, you can go by the label that's on it. And if you're unsure of the label, then you can also email me and I can kind of explain it to you based upon what your A1C level is.
Very good. Good questions. All right. Anybody else?
Patricia says, yes, I stopped years ago using sugar substitutes because this made my head hurt. Why is that? Because of the chemicals that are in sugar substitutes. They are synthetically made. So anything that's really synthetically made is not helpful or have healing properties within it to actually heal your body for it.
Good question, Patricia. These guys are on tonight. I'm loving it. Anything else, guys? Kenda, any last comments? Anything else you want to share before we close it out tonight?
The only thing I would like to share is making sure that you know what's on your dinner plate and not just allowing what you've been historically taught on how to eat to drive to what you eat. Making those choices for yourself and only for yourself and not because someone else is doing it. If you do it for yourself, it's going to help you a lot more than you doing it because someone else is doing it. And if you're going to do a fad diet or if you're going to do one of these multi-marketing level teas or anything like that, make sure you're aware of what you're putting into your body. And make sure that no detox should give you a laxative effect. Because if you continue to take herbs and not know what you're taking, it can definitely harm your body, and certain parts of your body will not work for you anymore, and you will be forced to take this for a very, very long time.
All right. I think you answered this one already too, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. Right. I don't know why they're coming across my feed late here. Okay. All right. Good questions tonight, guys. Great conversation. Just educating ourselves, Ms. Kenda, make sure we know what we're putting in our bodies, reading our labels. More importantly, making sure that our motives are pure and right when we decide to do a bad diet or to take on any of these, challenges or physical challenges. One thing I learned tonight was that even physical activity will help us to detox. So that was a learning for me too. And also the breakfast, thing, because I've always been taught that you had to eat breakfast. So thank you so much for just sharing your expertise, with us tonight, your knowledge, your wisdom. Very helpful, very helpful. So you have truly closed us out with some great information. Again, thank you for being here tonight, for sharing. So guys, moving forward, we are going to be having some raw conversations around overcoming depression. We're going to be talking about the power of forgiveness and walking in love. We are going to have Wendy Lee talking about the battle of depression, masking our pain. We're going to be talking about deliverance. So if you are suffering from pain due to a loss of any kind, if you're feeling stuck, you're feeling sick and tired, and you want actionable steps to reclaim your life, please reach out to us at foreverheal.com. You can call us at 804-684-1113 to schedule a class. Please share and like this video with those of you who may need this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as we are now uploading training videos on grief. Follow us on Instagram at Forever Healed and Twitter, the number 4Ever Healed. I'm also going to share some information for Kenda for you, so it'll be tagged in this video. And let me get her information up here. So here you go. www.ambrosiafoodforthought.com. And then Kenda Sutton, and her number is 804-316-9867. I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I really appreciate all the questions and the comments. And we hope that you guys have peaceful rest. And Kenda, thanks again so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Tanya.